Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 48 of Direwolf20's Let's Play. You can see me just logging in here for the first time in a little bit, checking in on some of my farms and stuff, checking in on the quarry that I had running last episode, or maybe it was before that, I forget. But everything should be running smooth. Now, I think I actually disabled my quarry at one point last episode to get my biofuel going. So that thing's probably not running at the moment, but not a big deal. I can go turn it on and check it out. Let's see where we at here with this thing. Build craft room. Oh yeah, look at that. All the biofuel getting produced. Biomass getting turned into biofuel and more biomass being produced. At some point, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and get honey, or probably honey, into this guy, and that's going to produce more biomass per fertilizer and sapling that goes in. But for now, I'm honestly not hurting too bad on resources on that front. But I do want to go check on my other stuff. I believe I'm actually rather low on resources down here with ingots and bars. Oh yeah, look at that. Definitely getting kind of low. So maybe it's time to craft up some equivalent exchange stuff soon to help me get more resources. Now, of course, I've got all this crazy EMC stuff coming in. Tons and tons of the stuff. Oh yeah, look at that. Loads of EMC. But, you know, I think it might be time to start crafting up some of the new cool stuff. So let's check out what we can build from equivalent exchange that you guys haven't seen yet. There's still quite a bit, actually. Why don't I get situated and be right back. Alright guys, before I do anything with equivalent exchange, I did want to pop down to my reactor here real quick, check on things. Looks like this guy is getting awfully low, because I actually hooked this guy up recently to that compressors, as you remember. So he should be getting pretty darn low. And at some point here, we should see just a natural turning on of our reactor. So let's see what happens. There we go. Everything turned on. So here comes our ice. And as soon as the ice comes through the item thingy, then we know our reactor is going to start running, but there's no room in there, so that's cool. So everything is working according to plan. How's this thing doing? Plenty of juice. All right. So where is all this energy going? All right, it's filling back up, so that's a good sign. Definitely cool. Happy to see everything looks like it's working all right. I wanted to put some chunk loaders in here just in case. I mean, like, chunk loaders should help. So how are we doing here? We're going to be loading this chunk here, and this guy over here, straight through to here. And just to be extra safe, I'm going to put another chunk loader up in this room. And yeah, I know they're visible, but we'll live, right? So that should properly be loading pretty much my entire area. That looks pretty good to me. Make sure everything is all well and covered. Just extra chunk loaders to be safe, right? Alright, so that's cool. Let's head back to our main base now. What I'm thinking I want to do is build what's called an equivalent exchange flower. Those of you who have seen my videos on industrial craft know that I liked to build solar flowers back before we had those awesome things called advanced solars. But now I want to go with the flower design for equivalent exchange, which should hopefully give me a very, very nice amount of EMC and help me produce some of the more advanced items that I want to make. It's going to require a bit more of these collectors. Not exactly sure how many I'm going to need. If the design I'm looking at, I believe I need 17 collectors, holy cow, and I'm going to need about 5 antimatter relays. So why don't I see what I can do about getting those resources ready. I'm probably going to spend a few minutes here. Maybe I want to upgrade my Klein Star Dry. What do you guys think about that? How much do you think that's going to cost me? Let's see. I don't know how much that's going to cost me. Let's see. Alright, let's just give it a shot. Why not? So what I'm going to do is take my Klein Star Dry here. I'm going to get 1. That doesn't seem too bad. 2. And let's steal some more EMC out of this guy real fast. Charge him up. It was like, what, 400-ish thousand EMC? So that's not too bad. Right? Will this guy tell me? No. That's fine. What I'm going to do is upgrade this guy to the Klein Star Veer. I don't know. I'm about to get a million comments saying you pronounced it wrong, Direwolf, but oh well. I'll live. Alright, so let's drain this one out. Goodbye, Klein Star Dry. Hello, Klein Star Veer. So push these guys in here like so. And look at that. Klein Star Veer. or weir or something that somebody's going to tell me is some crazy weird thing. So this guy, as far as I can tell, is going to store 3.2 million EMC. So that's a lot. Why don't I come back once this guy's nice and fully charged? So almost drained all the EMC out of this relay. You can see I've got about 1.3 million in there now, and then I'm going to go drop it in this guy and collect a couple more million. Alright guys, looks like this thing's pretty much fully charged. That's cool. I'm actually going to dump out a little bit because I want to be able to drain the last remnants of my little set behind me. What I'm going to do is knock this guy all apart. So let's get this guy taken off, and this one, and just clean this whole thing up. And just so I don't lose any EMC, even though there's like 1,000 in there, so no biggie. Cool. So that's going to get me the first bits of these guys that I need, and I'll clean up this wall in a bit. There, perfect. What I'm going to also do is probably knock this beast about too, I'm thinking. So why don't we knock this guy off? That's all looking good. And I'll leave that stuff there for now just because, but, you know, I might need to clean up a bit more of this stuff in a moment or two. But basically what I'm going to do is probably leave at least one thingy in here, antimatter relay, without a collector though. So I got all the collectors, right? Yeah, we're good. So I had 5 on this one and 5 on that one, which means I'm going to need 7 more collectors. So let's see what we can do about that. And hey, look, I taught it the Klein Star Veer. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see if I can find a little bit more EMC. I know there's still some left in my Mark III relay here. Should have enough for my 17th collector, but I'm going to need some antimatter relays, more than I currently have the value of. So we'll see what we can do about that in just a few moments here. I might have to start this solar flower thingy and then come back to it, but we'll see. So there's one Mark III relay, and yeah, I'm going to need a good amount more EMC. Well, I don't see myself using some of these things in here at the moment, so let's get our tungsten. We know that's worth a lot of EMC, and we've also got a lot of rubies. Come on, sort properly, would you? Emeralds. Sure, why not? Got plenty of sapphires as well. So I mean that's gonna probably be good. I don't want to use them all. I still want to hang on to some. Who knows what I'll have for a use for them. But let's go burn these up in our antimatter relay and see how close we can get to having 5 Mark III relays. I'm just going to burn up some tungsten. Well, that got me practically 1. So we'll just burn up our rubies as well here. And all that cool stuff. Not quite as close as I would have hoped to get. But we'll see. That might get me 2 more at least, and then I can use this one as my 5th, and that'll work for me. I was going to save one down here, but maybe I'll just craft one later for future use. So lots of EMC stored up that I'm going to go ahead and dump into making this awesome flower machine thingy. So I'm going to need 2 more. 1, 2. Perfect. Good. Klein Star, you're mine. Let's take this thing apart. Much better. Now I obviously don't have a output for my items to go and, you know, get wasted into for the moment. So, but that's okay because my quarry is pretty much off anyway. I might even want to completely disable this thing because wood and everything is probably going to build up in my ender chest here from my forestry farm. So I'm just going to leave this guy off for the next little bit, and hopefully I'll pretty soon have enough EMC to go ahead and produce another antimatter relay that's going to wind up going right here. So let's get up on the roof. What I decided I wanted to do here really is just go up on the roof and build this nifty little solar flower up here. And then what I'm going to do is access it from the bottom right here. How cool is that? So give me a few minutes and I'll get situated and ready to build this thing up here. Alright, so let's see how we want to do this. Basically I think I want to start off by knocking these things off here and placing down my collectors like so. And I think that's going to work out well for us. And then I'm going to jump straight up here and start placing down some of the Mark III relays. Those are going to go here, 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 and here. Cool. And then in the middle of those is going to be this guy, the condenser, that I've never really been using too much of. Now the benefit of this is that the Mark III relays are going to start dumping all their stuff directly into the condenser. So all the EMC here is going to go straight into this guy. Boom, just like that. Then what I'm going to do is take more collectors and place them kind of all around the edges of this thing. So it's going to be something like this, kind of almost like the solar flower design that I used a lot. Now this design I got off of the Equivalent Exchange wiki, so it's not like I came up with this all by myself. There's a bunch of different designs that you can do for solar flowers for Equivalent Exchange on the Equivalent Exchange wiki, but you know, for now I decided let's just do this cool thing and proceed from there. Alright, so that is the starting of my flower, and let's see, what else is there to it? Now I did say, didn't I, that I needed to have 17 of those collectors, so let's grab some of our apples. I don't see myself using too many of these going forward. Let's see what kind of EMC value these guys have. So I'm going to go ahead and drop them onto this thing and start burning them up. Yeah. So a stack of apples is equivalent to a diamond? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'm too thrilled with that number. I thought apples might be worth more, but I guess not. So let's see, what other kind of good resources can I burn up here? I do have a lot, of course, but I don't want to, you know, kind of destroy everything. Well, I have a lot of obsidian. How about some of that? I probably don't need nearly as much obsidian as I've got. And I think that should probably have a decent EMC value. What's a stack of that worth? Oh, only gold. But hey, I've got more of it, so how about I'll see what I can do and I'll be right back. Alright, dipping into my silver supplies here, but I do have a lot of silver, so I don't feel too bad about that. All my obsidian is burned up, so I really want to get this solar flower like totally complete, and oh yeah, that's a lot. That'll probably help out. We're getting there. I want to at least get the last collector that I need, so let's see. I can do a Mark II, and I can even do some red matter. I think I'm pretty close. Hang on. Hey, I think I'm getting close. Just burning up a few more miscellaneous items. Nothing too fancy. Hey, there we go. My next Mark III collector. Perfect. Cool. So this Klein star is basically empty at this point, but that's alright. I'm going to go ahead and place this guy up on my roof. And this guy's going to hang out right up here on top of the condenser. And what that'll do is just add another layer of antimatter awesomeness to this. And then it's probably a good idea for me to get some glowstone and cover up the top of all these things, so that way when it's dark out, everything's cool. So I think I had some in here. That looks good. Okay. Now I definitely want to get another antimatter relay, but that'll come soon, don't worry. Do I have enough for this stuff, or do I need a little bit more? I might need a bit more. So let's cover up these guys right here. And remember, because all of these machines, the relays and the collectors and antimatter relays and the collectors, yeah, they all produce a good amount of light. So pretty much on par with what you'd get from a glowstone. So you're good there. How am I for in here? There we go. Didn't want to leave that little guy behind. And then I'm going to go ahead and place these guys right on top here. And what this should do right now is basically be producing a bunch of EMC inside all my antimatter relays in there, right? So if I were to go up here and knock off this thing, and why don't I get out my Swift Wolves just so we can see this nice and clearly. All right, this should be my collector, or condenser. Okay, and look how much EMC is building up in all my relays. They've all got close to 100,000 each so far, so I probably could have just thrown my Klein stars in there, but we're good, we're good. Next, what I'm going to do is probably go ahead and pop this guy right in there so that everything is good. So now we've got all this energy we're producing, so I need to convert it into something. Give me a few minutes. I think I can do something real fast here. I'm going to get my Klein star back and charge him up inside. Because I really don't want to go without a Mark III relay for too long. So I'm going to let this guy charge up. And then if I go into this one, now these guys obviously in the middle are going to be your biggest producers of EMC, but the guy up top there is also producing a good amount, so that's cool. So yeah, look at all this. We've already produced a noticeably large amount of EMC at the moment. And that'll hopefully be enough to get me an antimatter relay. How do we make out? Almost there? Not bad. Surely not bad. I'll come back in a few minutes once I do have enough. And we're almost there with the next Mark III relay. Yeah, that should be enough. So let's drop down here. Pop this guy in there. Great, Mark III relay. I can put this guy right back here. Perfect. And then I can take the Klein star back off. I'll probably wind up disassembling the system now because I'm not really going to need it, but meh, we'll see. Also going to grab myself while I'm here just a few smooth stone so I can make things look nice, clean up the walls a little bit, and I'm going to let all that stuff sit up there and collect for a moment because I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. Basically what I'm going to wind up doing here is putting a target inside of my condenser. So this guy right here is going to get a target. Okay, let's target, for now I'm going to target diamond, but pretty soon I'm going to have a lot of diamonds from that. But you'll see how powerful this thing is when I do target diamond. Okay, you ready? Let's do it. Look at how quickly I'm producing a diamond. Woot. So there's equivalent exchange at its best, producing tons of stuff. I can go ahead and turn this thing back on now because our antimatter relay is back. You might have noticed I'm not collecting any, whatchamacallit, wood. Yeah, why am I not producing any wood, Direwolf? Good question. The main reason for that is I am out of ash, and ash is an important piece of the bituminous, or however you pronounce that stuff. So let's see, if I grab just a stack or two of peat here, and hopefully this is enough. Let's see what happens if I burn peat in a dark matter furnace. Aha! Get some ash from that. Sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and burn this stuff up, but what will probably happen here is I believe all my farms out there have run out of bituminous peat. I don't have the resources to produce it at the moment. See, if I go over here and request it, let's see, craftables, this stuff. See, I'm missing ash. So by burning this stuff up, I'm going to get those guys running again. So let's do that. I'll take this stack for now and go ahead and deposit it in my forestry area. And then what we should see happen is a bunch of, there we go, see all the ash is going all over the place, and it's going to start producing more bituminous peat. And we should, if we head over here, so you can see it's nighttime, of course, and I can't jump. All our farms should start, you know, picking up production once again. So maybe I'll just teach that recipe about how to produce peat. I don't know, we'll see. What's up, creeper? Got nothing. So now that we're starting to supply peat again, we should start seeing these guys running. You can see I came over here and checked it out and was like, oh yeah, look, we're low on bituminous peat. Ha. Bad news. I did knock some dirt off here, which is why this thing is currently not running, but it should start running again now. See, yeah, there we go. The sand's coming out. So where's my Philosopher's Stone? Make this look pretty again. Nice. So all our farms should start running again. Yeah, look, there goes my peat farm. It started up again. So the lack of ash was a problem. Maybe I should teach my DM furnace how to make ash out of bituminous peat, or regular peat. That's right. And I'm probably driving you guys all nuts saying however you say that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this guy in here with my forestry items. Oh yeah, dude, look how much ash we wound up using. Wow, no wonder I ran low. I should probably resolve that in the future. But let's see how we're doing for diamonds at the moment. Look at that, we already produced 16 diamonds. How cool is that? And we're still burning fast. The guy who did the video on the equivalent exchange wiki said he produces a diamond every like 15 seconds or so. That's a lot of diamonds. And remember, you can place things into your condenser and it'll burn up the EMC of whatever you place in there and convert it directly into your target block for you. So that's a good way to, you know, just dump out some stuff you don't need. Yeah, I'm thinking that's pretty good. I'm going to let those diamonds cook up for a little bit. And you might be saying, well, why are you doing it this method instead of going with the antimatter relays like you were? How are you going to charge up your Klein star back up now that you no longer have any production over here on this guy? Well, it's really easy. I just grab some diamonds. Ta-da! Charge my Klein star up. No biggie. Nice and easy. So I can easily convert matter into energy and energy into matter and, you know, choose back and forth. Now, of course, diamonds is not going to be the thing I wind up targeting here. What I do want to wind up targeting is going to cost me a little bit more EMC than I think I have. Let's see, if I steal these 12 diamonds, I just didn't have the EMC to do this a minute ago, but let's see what happens. Yeah, almost there. Give me a minute or two and I'll probably be pretty close. Yeah, I think that's pretty darn close. So why don't I just take this diamond out of here, drop him in here, and that'll get me a Klein star with 210 EMC in it. Let's go ahead and produce a piece of red matter. That's what I really want my collector and condensers to be making for me, is red matter. Now obviously that's going to take a lot longer than a piece of diamond. A diamond being 8,000 EMC, where a piece of red matter is 204,000. But we'll let this thing start producing red matter for us, and then I can start producing all kinds of cool stuff from equivalent exchange. So the upgrade of the collector condenser system is definitely going to help me move forward with equivalent exchange toys. And for now, I think I'm just going to break this deployer setup. I don't need it anymore. And I'll come back in a little bit when I'm ready to do more cool stuff. Now, I don't know if you guys happen to notice this, but I've been carrying around a cultivated princess and some sinister drones. I probably don't need quite as many as I have. Let's head back to our apiary here and see how things are doing. I'm going to drop off half these guys. That should be fine. Yeah, we've got plenty of propolis still, and plenty of all the other resources I need. I'm going to head into the nether, because I want to try and breed up my sinister drones to the next tier of the infernal branch. And to do that, I believe it's cultivated that I want to mate with the sinister drone. So that's why I'm going to pop in here and check that out. Now, a lot of people did post comments on my last video saying that using this system, I'm never going to get any blaze rods by doing this. I'm aware, I know. Blaze rods only drop when the player himself kills these enemies. Not to worry though. You know, the main reason I wanted to have this system in place is so that I could, you know, kill things nice and quickly and not have to worry about all the noise they produce. So let's see, if I go ahead, and you can see there's a bunch of junk in here, I'm going to mate my cultivated princess with a sinister drone and see what I get. Cultivated sinister hybrid. Okay, that's cool. That's what I figured I would probably wind up getting. So maybe I'll let that hang out for a little bit and come back and forth every now and then to the nether off camera, hoping to get some more cool stuff. And my little slime's still hanging out in there, so that's cool. My magma cube. I'll turn this thing off, don't need him anymore. Oh look, just spawned a bunch more. Take that, blazes. Alright, I'll be back. And as you guys might have noted, I'm starting to get a little bit hungry, and I feel like it's a good time for another machine from forestry to help me out. So I just ate some ambrosia to help me go in here. What I'm going to need to do is get my requester tool and start building a couple pieces of brass. Now I'm going to need, I'm going to say, let's see, 12 of these things. Let me take a look real quick. Alright, I believe I'm going to need about 20 of them. So let's get that going real quick. I'm also going to need 4 pieces of iron, which remember I'm getting kind of low on. Not terribly, but kind of. And probably some glass. I should have enough of that stuff on me. Yeah, not bad, but I should probably get a few more. Where's my glass at? That should be good. And get out my crafting table and let's take a look at what we can make with this cool stuff. Now obviously I'm going to need a pair of machines for my farm, because you need 2 machines for the most part for a farm. One of them I'm going to place in the middle here with this bronze stuff in the sides and some glass, and that's going to get me the farm. Of course, a farm is going to produce wheat for me. Lots and lots of wheat, as a matter of fact. And then I can get a combine next. So farm, combine, good to go. Farm will produce wheat, and combine will harvest it for me. It's going to be a pretty similar setup to all the other stuff you guys have seen in the past. So it's not probably going to spend too much time building it, on camera at least. You guys will just kind of see me do it, you know, kind of a rushed version, because it's pretty much the same setup you've always seen. Place down one block, place down the other, some tubes and some wireless frequencies and all that cool stuff. So how about I get situated, ready to build it, and I'll be right back. Alright, hopefully I've got all the resources I need, but let's get started. First off, I'm going to take my farm and place them down right about here. This is where I determine the best spot to be for that farm. And because I want to make sure everything's nice and quick early on, I'm going to go ahead and request out of my green bag one of these golden conductive pipes, and I guess I don't have on me any power teleport pipes, so let's go ahead and make one real fast. Let's see, there we go. And get these guys cooking real fast. So let's see, what do we got here? Sure, frequency 4, 2, 1. Let's go with 1 because I know my quarry is disabled, so I'll set this guy to true. And that shouldn't be too bad. Should start getting some juice, and look, it's starting to build for us. And I'm hoping that it's only going to build right up to here. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfectly guessed. Okay, not really guessed. These things are, I want to say, 15 by 15? Yeah, I think that's right. So 7 in each direction from the center is where I counted to get things going. And then right next to it, just like I have over here, I'm going to place down the harvester machine, which in this case is called the combine. And that's going to, you know, pretty much eat up and break down and harvest all of our wheat. And then from there, I'm going to need probably, let's see, what did I do here? Probably going to pretty much just duplicate this design. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3 of these supplier pipes. So I've got these guys. Is it that? No, it's provider. You know what? I think it's this. I'm going to need my lappies for this, right? Yeah, there we go. Supplier. That looks good. I'm going to need a diamond pipe. I don't know if I have one of those available. So let's set down our item requesting little system and just go request some stuff right over here. Frequency 0 can receive true. How am I for diamond pipes in my system? At all good? Probably not. Yeah, I'm thinking not. So let's go ahead and just request 2 diamonds. And then I can craft that up into a diamond pipe. Cool. I'll be back in a minute once I've finished building this stuff. Alright, now what I'm going to have to place in this thing is actually dirt. So if I just place this stuff right in here like so, that should be enough dirt actually to keep things going. But I am going to tell this machine right here that you're going to want to keep about 10 dirt in here, or 11, that should be fine. It shouldn't require any more dirt after the initial laydown of dirt, because it'll automatically keep you know, these things tilled. But just in case there's any problem with endermen or creepers or who knows what else. But for now, it'll take care of planting the water, automatically tilling the dirt, and all that stuff is good. But I will need to automatically place seeds in here, and that'll come from the combine, of course, just like what you would have with your forestry machines, you know, for the trees and whatnot. So give me a few minutes, and I'll just be wrapping up this segment. I'll be right back. Alright, looks like we're doing pretty good here. Gonna go ahead and knock these guys off. Don't want them supplying power anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and get my peat engine set up. That should be cool. And this guy is on frequency 0. I need to bump him up to 11 and can receive true. And that'll get my stuff, you know, working a little bit better. So there we go. Had to bump that frequency up, right? And then I've got my sand pipes right here. Should help out and allow me to place down my suppliers. And these guys I'm going to go with regular peat. Obviously making bituminous peat is a little bit of an issue. So let's go ahead and get a remote order here. You should have access to my systems. But let's see what happens if I run over here to this guy and request some regular old peat. There it is. Give me just like 11 of them, why not? And this thing should be alright if I tell this guy that peat goes red. That should be cool. And you know what else I need is some seeds. I'm going to get 1 at least for now. Or let's just go with like 11, sure. I'll tell it that those guys also go down that route. So, let's see. Seeds can go red. I'll be right back. Hey, there we go. Everything's working better now. On the other side where I set the 11, I forgot to say can receive true. So that's why nothing was talking properly. But now I can go ahead and open up this guy and say, you got plenty of dirt. Let's keep some seeds in here at all times. I'm going to go with like, I don't know, 20 of them. That sounds good. And then let's open up these guys and say, oh, I don't know, how about just 5 peat in each? Should be good to keep supplied. There we go. 5 went in there. 5 should also wind up over here. Perfect. And I'll just place the excess in there for now. And now I just need some wireless redstone. I might have some of those in some of my bags. I've got a transmitter, but I don't think I have a receiver. But that's alright, I can go request one real fast. Right here, wireless receiver, please. And then I'll get ready to cover this stuff up with some dirt. So let's double check our system to make sure I didn't forget anything. What I'm going to have here is these guys constantly getting supplied with peat, and this guy supplied with seeds. I'm going to want to place down my dirt now. And along with that dirt, I'm going to place down a wireless receiver. And that guy is going to go right about here. So let's see, what numbers did I use over here? I don't even know. That's alright, I'll figure it out later. For now, I'll wind up probably just using... I had to decide to check just so I could be sure. 10, 11, and 12 is what I use. So this guy, why not? Let's make it 13. And then I'll go place this up here. I'm going to knock this thing off. Don't need him there at the moment. And even this corner that I've got going. And this will be 13 transmitter. And get myself some sticks, as usual. There we go. Now we should start getting some seeds going on in here. These things should start automatically planting all around. Yeah, look at that. Seeds are getting planted. Sweet. And they'll start growing into wheat. And as soon as the wheat is ready, my combine here will harvest them up. And just like all forestry machines, the wheat itself will come out the side here and go into this teleport pipe, which I've got set over frequency 1 to go to my automatic sorting chest. Which means I'm going to have to teach my sorting machine how to deal with seeds and wheat. But I'll get to that in a minute. And then it'll come out the top here with all the seeds and try to place them directly into my farm. And then my farm, any seeds that don't go in there will wind up filtering down to the iron pipe and landing in the frequency 1 teleport pipe. So pretty much identical to the way I did some of my other designs. Nothing too deviating from there, but hey, don't fix it if it ain't broke. So that wraps up getting the farm going. Now that I've got this farm, I'll have a lot of wheat and seeds, and that'll mean some more cool designs and more machines from forestry, because forestry has a bunch of stuff to do with wheat and seeds. But at least for now, we should be good. So why don't I just go out in here and grab one seed. I'm going to clean up my inventory, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we've got our sorting machine here. I'm going to go grab a piece of wood, or a piece of wheat, I'm sorry. Which is probably over here in my miscellaneous junk chest. Sure, why not? And go over and place that right here in the yellow line. Now, obviously, I'm out of yellow line slots, so I'm going to create another yellow line here for seeds. It's more than reasonable to think that I might get some more stuff in the future. But for now, all the seeds... Wait, what am I doing? Oh, right, wood. Heh, no, that's not what we want. We want wood and stuff to go to the... Me being silly. Brown, is that it? No, I want to go to the green line. Where's green? Ah, there it is. Sweet. So yeah, wheat and seeds. That fits. Perfect. Why not? So same place the ash, the bitterness, and that stuff's going. Perfect. Looking good. So still plenty of wood in here. Plenty of ash. Hopefully the peat being burned up in those engines will try and produce enough ash to keep our bituminous peat production going. But we'll see what happens. And let's see how we made out with our nice little thing up here. Oh, look, we already produced 4 red matter. See that? We're really kicking up production of that stuff. And that stuff's worth, I don't know, what, 200 and something thousand each? So we produced over 1 million EMC pretty much in the time that I was out there building that little farm. So you can imagine the amount of red matter we're going to have in the near future, which is going to allow me to create some really powerful equivalent exchange toys. And I'm sorry to say that that's a pretty good wrapping up point for this episode. So this has been episode 48 of Direwolf20's Let's Play. Hope you enjoyed checking it out. Stay tuned next time. I'm going to have a lot of wheat, which means I can start producing more food as I'm getting a little bit low. And then any excess wheat, we're going to start using for some other cool forestry stuff. That's right, there is more to do with wheat and forestry aside from just creating bread. So that is something to stay tuned in the future for. Of course, with all this cool machine that we added up here, we're going to be able to produce a lot of EMC and a lot of red matter, and we'll start producing some of the more powerful equivalent exchange items. And then probably want to start using some of that nuclear power that I'm producing down in my basement. You guys might be saying to yourselves, Direwolf, why are you producing all this EU stuff from Industrial Craft if you're not using it? Well, since I spent literally 4 episodes straight on Industrial Craft stuff, I wanted to get some work done on some other mods and, you know, not spend too much time on Industrial Craft all in one row. I also want to pop into my Buildcraft room. Oh yeah, we've got plenty of fuel going on. So let's turn off our refinery, get our quarry running once again. That looks good. And look, see, we have plenty of biomass because we've got a lot of saplings and fertilizer available to us. And there's alternate methods for those things as well, so that's something we're going to have to get into the future. And now that I've got my quarry going again, we should start seeing some resources show up in our ender chest any minute. Oh yeah, look at that. Here comes the stone. Awesome. So hope you guys enjoyed episode 48. Take it easy.